and get ready for the beginning of our conference. Oh, sorry, not really used to talking into these mics. Thank you.
Searching for music for your next video? Then you need to check out Artlist. With amazing new music added daily and one simple license that covers everything. Artlist is the music licensing platform for all creators. Start now and find the perfect song. Artlist, made for creators.
I want to show you the perfect tool for making stunning videos without leaving the house. Just go to artgrid.io. It's a revolutionary stock footage platform. New footage is added from the best filmmakers every day, and I get unlimited downloads, so anything I download is mine to use forever.
So the concept we're thinking of is authentic journey, so it needs to look amazing.
So I can keep delivering high-quality content even in today's challenging times. Clips are uploaded in stories, so my editing options are endless. And the license covers everything, even
All right, good morning, everybody. I am Dr. Cook. I'm the proud principal here at Eastlake High School. I always have a tradition when we bring people here together. Could you please do me a favor and just greet someone that is not in your immediate family and somewhere in your area, because these are the people that you're going to be networking with. So please meet somebody that is not in your immediate family here. Introduce yourselves.
Hi guys, welcome. Thank you for coming.
All right, so that's the first lesson for today, which is you gotta learn how to network, okay, and meet other people that are gonna be on the same journey with you. So let me start off by first thanking, of course, Mr. Faust, who in my mind is one of the most incredible teachers and human beings I've ever met, as well as they are perhaps my favorite group of people on campus because of their commitment to what they do, and that's the awesome Titanbots. So if we can give them a round of applause for the great work that they do. Mr. Faust, I gotta tell you, when I was a young child, I could only dream of the things that you're doing today. I always imagined myself way back in the day on my Commodore 64 when I was learning the program, and I thought to myself, nobody can make a business out of this, and so, or a life, and now I look back and I think that's essential for today, that you have to know these skills in order to be successful. So what a change things have happened in the last about 30 years or so since I was that young child. And now I look here and I see so many great and wonderful young people that I think are going to take the next mantle of leadership. So I do have a really important question for you, and it sets the tone for today. I want you to think right now of 5 famous female mathematicians, engineers, okay, scientists. We have 2 minutes to get this challenge done. I need 5, okay? Actually, we'll make this more difficult. You have 1 minute. Go. You can work with anybody you want to. 30 seconds. Can't use Google either. Oh, no. All right, 10 seconds. 3, 2, 1. Okay, my awesome leaders here. Tell me. Raise your hands and shout them out. I need 5. Go. Mary Curie, Madam Curie, nicely done. Yes, sir.
Leonardo.
I couldn't hear.
Da Vinci.
Da Vinci, okay. Yes.
Katherine Johnson, Dorothy Vaughan, and Mary Jackson.
Hidden figures, nicely done. Yes.
Madame Curie.
Madame Curie, okay, Mary Curie. Okay, we got a couple more, yes. Okay, anybody else? You can just shout them out. Okay. James Goodall, good, there you go. Let me just pause right there. I think when I started that challenge, there was a little bit of hesitation. I sensed it from the crowd. Okay, if I had asked this different question, could you name 5 male scientists, engineers? I think you could have rattled off something just as quickly as you wanted to. It takes time for things to change over, to change the narrative. And today, I am asking you, for the sake of the future of our females, of my daughter who's going to be an 8th grader here, or a 9th grader here soon, that we start thinking about our roles in this and the opportunities that exist in front of us. Here's a little bit of a statistic that I find pretty interesting. The Census Bureau said that 8% of STEM workers in the 1970s were female, only 8%. Today, it hovers at around 25%, okay? So some things have changed, okay? Men made up 52% of all the workers in the US today, but they make up 73% of all of the STEM fields. And I know this to be true in some facet because running a high school and working in a lot of middle schools, when I would visit some of the AP classes that were for higher level sciences, I would always ask myself, why are there not more females in here? And when I would talk to people about why this was the case, there was a self-belief that for many of our females that they didn't belong there, that's not a female's role. And it makes me really, really, really sad to even consider that I have to put myself in a position to ensure that our females have a really rightful place at that desk so they can learn and be at the top of their levels as well. So today is really about changing that narrative, and it really is about understanding that you can really be whatever you want. Now, the sky is always the limit for all of you, but I want you to think about this. We had a student here, her name is Katia Echezarreta, who was the very first Mexican-born woman and the youngest American woman in space to be selected by Space for Humanity. It's a nonprofit organization. I know we tried to get her here today, but what an amazing thing to think about, that person was a student here at this school, and it could be any school, and she had a dream that went beyond just the sky. Okay? So I'm inviting you today to think about your future. You are the best self that's coming up. Okay? You're the next best version of yourself for females, okay, in terms of looking up at somebody. One day, I want to be able to look in this audience and say, when I ask that same question 5 years from now, name 5 female scientists, or engineers, mathematicians, technologists, okay, social behaviorists, whatever it might be, that they're going to name you. Okay, you, and you, and you, and you, and you. Okay? That's how much I believe that today's conference is about setting that stage for your future. So without further ado, I want you to know that today you're going to network and you're going to see that not only is the sky this limit, okay, but actually space. Dream what you want to be, become what you want to be, and be, okay, the next great person that's going to influence future generations. So I'm going to, before I turn it over to our awesome host, me and Maria, I'm going to capture this moment. The young people call this a selfie, and I'm going to take this picture to say, one day, when one of you becomes that next Katherine Johnson, who, by the way, I am related to, believe it or not, from my wife, as my wife, family, they're cousins. So I always think that's really interesting when I read her story. So I'm going to just take a quick picture and say, one day, when one of you becomes that next great person, I'm going to say, that person was here at this school. Okay, y'all good with that? All right, so here we go. My daughter always asks me why I wear the shirts at conferences like this, and I always tell her because it's the most important lesson you'll ever learn, sweetheart. That no matter what happens in life, persist, okay? And I share that message with all of you here today. Don't let anybody hold you back, okay? Persist, okay? I think to be great, you have to have grit. And to have grit, you have to persist. All right, let me do the selfie thing, and I'll let you on to your way here. So here we go. All right. Are we ready? 1, 2, 3, and we'll go this way. 1, 2, 3, and we'll go this way. 1, 2, 3. Now, someone's going to tell me you should have just done the panorama. I don't think I did. Okay. Have a great day. It's an honor being here, part of this awesome day. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Dr. Cook. So, good morning, everyone. Good morning. Thank you all for coming to our 8th annual Girls Inspiring Real Leadership in STEM conference. We're setting up our mics. Give us a second. Time up here and I still don't know how to work a mic. I'm sorry. I'm Mia Beltran. I'm the Titanbot Outreach Director and your co-host for this morning. And I'm Maria Ulloa. I'm the SWENext president of Eastlake High School. And I'm going to be one of your co-hosts as well. Planning and hosting today's event, we have 2 of the major STEAM clubs on Eastlake High School's campus. I'm proud to say that. Both working closely together throughout the year to engage students via a variety of educational opportunities. Closely, again, working together for engaging students and fostering an interest in careers related to science, technology, arts, engineering, and mathematics. So the ultimate goal of our conference is to provide our attendees with the skills and resources and confidence, because we need all confidence, to pursue STEAM careers and fulfill their passions and make a difference. First, we have Eastlake High School's robotics team, Titanbot, an FRC First Robotics Competition team run entirely by students. Besides building robots for our competitions, we aim to use our resources and create an impact on our local and global community by fostering inclusive educational development, and again, science, technology, engineering, arts, and mathematics, and help students fulfill their passions and their educational careers.
And SWENext is an international program for high school student girls supported by the Society of Women Engineers at the college and professional levels. It's a program where girls can begin exploring and preparing for college and a career in engineering. So for our 8th annual Girls Aspiring Real Leadership in STEM conference, we at Titanbot and SWENext have invited 4 professional speakers, selected speakers from diverse backgrounds to talk about our theme, Connections for Life, which was brought up by Dr. Cook. We offer insight on how careers in STEAM might work. With our speaker presentations, we hope to expand your understanding on STEAM and professional development and offer guidance for your future educational experiences. With that being said, we would like to introduce our first speaker, Christina Decker.
Ms. Christina Deckard is a strong advocate for inspiring females to pursue science, engineering, and other STEM-related activities. She retired from Spatward Systems Center after 30 years working in the areas of acoustics, laser surveillance, and bullet tracking and RF exploitation. She was active in creating a culture of science, technology, engineering, and mathematics excitement through enabling the Department of Defense scientists and engineers to reach out to the K-12 community. She received numerous Navy awards for her efforts in research, has authored numerous research papers, and has also been an instructor in physics and math in San Diego colleges and universities. Ms. Deckard currently works with the Science Applicational International Corporation as contract support to biotechnology modernization. Whoa, those are big words, I'm sorry. Under the direction of the Undersecretary of Defense for Research and Engineering. So please again, let's give a round of applause for our first speaker, Ms. Christina Deckard.
All right, good morning. How are y'all doing? Yeah, are you excited to be here? It's a little early, I know, for a Saturday. But hopefully you're excited to be here. I'm totally excited to be here. So, I know you probably, fell asleep during my the intro that they gave to me. But what you need to know is I have worked for Department of Defense for way many years, lots and lots of years. But today what I wanted to do is I wanted to provide kind of some background on me, a little bit of my journey, and I have some fun, cool pictures of some of the efforts that I've been able to do. So hopefully it'll be inspiring, and so let's go with this. So I know we have a lot of people that are, we'll let you go next. Anyway, so we have a wide variety of ages. So I just want to kind of put, these are kind of important questions, right? That, what do you want to be when you grow up? So how many of you know? That's pretty good. Okay, are you planning on attending college or some trade, some sort of education post high school? And then do you know what major or career path that you really want to go? Okay, now we don't get as many, okay, so now go to the next one, and this was actually at age 12, and I'm going to say all the way to age 16, these were my answers, right? What? I have to grow up? I was not so happy about that. Are you planning on attending college? Well, sure, I guess that's what you do, right? And then it was like, major? Career path? So I didn't have a clue, and I did not have a clue until the end of high school, when I was actually able to go to an event much like this, but it was a little bigger, and it was at San Diego State University. So I'm native, San Diego, born and bred, and gonna stay. So you can go to the next one. when I was in high school, my chemistry teacher, who I loved chemistry, but it wasn't in my mind, oh yeah, maybe I should go be in science or something like that. But he took me to this big event, and we went to General Atomics, and we went to all sorts of places. Okay, that is not what I remember. I remember one speaker that talked about and showed us some of the first moving holograms. Okay, so really dating myself, back to the 70s. And so, he showed that, and I was like, whoa! It was spinning discs, and they had a couple dancing, and it was just like, whoa! This is really interesting. And so I turned to my chemistry teacher and said, hey, what do I have to do? And he's like, well, when you go to college next year, you will study physics. Okay. 5 minutes later, so what's physics, right? Because I was on a path that was not something, I didn't even know if my high school had physics. I'm guessing they did, but it wasn't necessarily a path that females or, were pointed into, right? And so my path actually took a bad spin in that I actually had a full ride scholarship to a major university outside of California, and as was not uncommon, I walk into the physics department and they look at me and was like, what are you doing here, right? So I said, hey, and I was all excited, little 17-year-old, hey, I want to go be a physicist, I want to do, holography and lasers, and so I need to study. And I was shot down, and I was told that females don't belong in those areas, right? And I was like, what? So I was a little immature and not able, at that point in time, right, to stand up for myself and fight a bigger system. And this was not uncommon, okay? So this was not uncommon in the 70s. Long story short, I ended up having to move back to San Diego, help my parents with their business, and they had some health issues. And so I ended up at actually Grossmont College, which is out in East County, and then on to San Diego State. But at Grossmont College, I just decided, I was like, I really did like that physics stuff. Maybe I can try again. Maybe they won't shut me out. And so they did not shut me out. I was the only girl in the class. Let me tell you, the boys were not so thrilled that I was like, what are you doing here, right? But I made it through. It was hard, but I made it through, aced that class, and then went over to San Diego State. There were 3 women in the physics department, and 2 of us, I took the top spot, and another female took the second spot when we graduated as top physics students. And along the way, the boys kind of decided, oh wow, these girls kind of know a lot, and they're really organized, and so they should be lab partners. So that's kind of what we did. So next slide, please. So then that took me into, I wanted to stay in San Diego, and the only job that was available for a physicist, because they wanted engineers, was at a lab that's out in Point Loma. And we've had many names. But anyway, so during my time, I've done all sorts of things, and so lasers, that's what my degree was in lasers. And so this just kind of shows a few things. Some of them are in my labs that I've had. That picture on the right, this was so fun. We actually were doing some atmospheric testing, and that Scripps Pier on the right, that's on La Jolla Shores, and we were trying to do figuring out some scattering that lasers would have in the surf zone, right? So in the first, 30 feet above the water. And so you can see the green, we had green lasers, and you can see kind of that scattering. But what we didn't realize, if you look up, so we were taking pictures, if you look up into the right top corner, there's this white kind of blob. Well, that was Hale-Bopp comet that happened to be there. So just kind of exciting, right? That we just by chance, you know, found out that we were actually running our tests and doing things and caught on camera that comet going by. Next one, please. So some of the other things that I've done are some like infrared research. So we developed a lot of systems early on. And so infrared technology, that is just, it's outside of what we can see, but what it's looking for is heat. And so anyway, so that's used like remotes, you know, are usually using some infrared technologies. Next one. I then, so physicist, right? Went back to school, got a master's in physics, and then I during my time, I had been doing a lot of work with computers. Okay, they were kind of up and coming. When I was in college, I was like, this will never go anywhere, this computer thing, because there were these punch cards, and you had to type them out, and then you had to take them to someone. I was like, oh my gosh. And I was a terrible typist at the time, and you know, if you accidentally fell, all your cards are everywhere, and you know, anyway. So I had no faith in what computers would look like. But then when I got into it, and you know, I was like, whoa, this is really interesting, and you know, modeling and simulation is going to be amazing. And so I decided to go back to school and get a master's in mathematics. And so, like the one on the bottom here are some modeling that we did on the atmosphere. So we were doing a lot of things that were out in the outside world, and so we really wanted to find out what kind of atmospheric patterns there were. Next one. And so I have done some acoustics. Yeah, so I started, you know, it's like, one thing I can tell you is be flexible, because I was kind of on this path of, I want to be a laser physicist, right? I'm going to put myself in that box. Okay, but then I worked in acoustics, underwater, and above ground, and I was a computer programmer. I ended up doing a lot of electrical engineering, mechanical engineering, right? And so be flexible, but be willing to challenge yourself, right? So anyway, so these were just some devices and things like that that we were using. Next one. So these are my fun slides. I really have fun with this. So this just kind of shows. So it was discovered by myself, but mainly by Department of Defense, that I was really good at doing field testing. So we can do all these things in a lab, but it's not going to help. We're not going to be able to put it out to our military unless we test it in some sort of field. Okay, well, a lot of times the field that we would be near would be someplace that would be in the desert, in the heat, right? Because that's where our military was. So at the top two pictures are in Yuma, Arizona, in the summer, 130 degrees outside. And you can see we're shooting lasers, so I was back to lasers. We're shooting lasers around, kicking up dust and seeing scattering. But you can see all of us, well, maybe most of us, have long sleeve shirts. That is so we don't burn, because you're in that 130 degree weather, or degree temperature. It's pretty bad. On the right one, have some of these on the left were in somewhere in England, and then this is in the Florida, excuse me, Florida coast, and in the Gulf. We got to test on the beach, and kind of funny because we had to take a day off because the weather was too nice and there was no atmosphere, so there wasn't any particles in the atmosphere that we needed for scattering our lasers. Anyway, we thought that was fun, so we all went to the beach. Anyway, go ahead, go next. Getting up, just some fun things that I got to do. I got to ride around for a couple weeks in a C-130. with the back open, like it looks there in the air. And the bottom left is a picture of Sydney, Australia. So kind of some fun things that I was able to do. Next one. Also, because the lab in San Diego is a Department of Navy lab, we did a lot of things for the water. And so this just shows a few things, you know, that we did, and the one on the upper right is actually in Australia, and we got to work with the Royal Australian Navy for that one. Next. We also got to go underground. So we got to go in in a mine in Alaska. That's an active mine that they are mining granite for roads and things like that. And it's also a teaching kind of a thing. And so the bottom right is my team, part of the team, at least the main ones that were there, and then some of the pictures. The top one is my daughter, who was off school during the summer, and so I brought her, bring my child to work, right? And so she ran one of the machines that we were testing in at our lab. She now is she's a chemical engineer, and she works for the Navy and runs some big programs down on 32nd Street. Next. So, science and math, right? Cool stuff. There's some really cool stuff. And I've just seen so much over the time that I have worked in the field. And you all that are here are going to solve the challenges that we have for tomorrow. So next one, please. So just a couple of the challenges that we have, you know, making solar energy more efficient, okay? So that's starting to happen, but we're still, quite honestly, I did some work when I was an undergrad at San Diego State, and we haven't come very far. And that was like 40 years. So we need to kind of think of some other things. Next one. This is huge, right? Providing access to clean water. That's huge for the world. And so there's a lot of things that can be done. Right now I'm working in biotechnology, and we're actually looking at bacteria that actually can take waste products and clean it and make it even more pure than some of the sanitation sites. Next one. And then personalized medicine, right? We're starting to see a little bit of that going on now. Those of you that might know of someone or have diabetes, right? There are these devices that basically plug into you and can provide a testing, automatically or through your checking it, but can also provide you the insulin that you might need. Okay, so really exciting. Next one. So I have recommendations because, of course, we all have recommendations. Stay in school. That's kind of the first one. Only about 83%, if you look at the US, 83% finish high school, 66% of high school graduates attend college, and then 16% who attend college will graduate. I don't like those statistics. Those are a little bit old. They might be about 7 years old, so I didn't have the updated ones. But get yourself on track. Take courses that are going to get you to where you might not even know that you're going to end up, right? So stay on a good path, find opportunities to explore new areas, find your passion, and I don't know if I have another slide. Let's see, I don't. Okay, so I do want to mention that one thing I want you to remember is dodstem.us. It's a website, so if you see all these Titanbot people on the back of their shirts, it says DoD STEM. So the Department of Defense cares about you, right? So we have a big FIRST Robotics. Department of Defense is actually the largest supporter of FIRST Robotics for all of their the efforts. And so, but dodstem.us, it's a great site, talks about internships, scholarships, and other things that might be going on. So it's a very good resource. So I thank you for letting me be here today. I'm getting excited to meet you all in a little bit. And so with that, I will sign off and we'll get to the next person.
Thank you so much, Ms. Deckard. I really enjoyed those images about the month. Those are amazing. And those tips, really useful. Solar power.
And the website to find scholarships. I know me as a high school student, I'm trying to find some right now. So it's really helpful for me.
So please make sure to check that out if you're interested. It's a great opportunity. Next up, we have a small intermission, and we're going to be playing a Kahoot game. So if you please take out your phones, your cellular devices, and log into kahoot.it.
We'll have it up on our screen in a little bit. We're currently working on our projector. But if you want to get that started, make sure to write your first and last name, because the winners are going to get a prize. So, yeah.
Please give us a little bit of time to set up for the Kahoot, and we'll let you guys know when you're ready. Get you some time to prepare, put in the code, and we'll get going.
So the code is up, or the pin is up on the projector, so go log into the game. Oh, nice. 13, 14 people.
Game pin for those who can't see it clearly, 540187. If you guys are having Wi-Fi issues, please come up to the stage and we'll help you out. I have my hotspot on for any of those who might need it, but we're gonna give everyone a little bit of time to log in and we'll start the Kahoot.
And you can ask anyone with the blue shirts for help if you need any.
If I'm correct, Ava Jacinto, our outreach coordinator for SWENext chapter, was the one who made this Kahoot. And again, empowering girls in STEM. It's very fun Kahoot, so we hope you all enjoy it. And again, we will be giving a prize for our top winner today.
I'm going to give you guys a few more minutes, and then we'll get our Kahoot started.
We're going to give people another 30 seconds to log in, but we will be starting shortly.
If anyone else needs to be connected through hotspot, come talk to us so we can help you.
So is everyone good? Can I get a thumbs up if you're logged in? Can I get a thumbs down if you can't log in?
Okay, so who needs help? Oh. I think that's about everyone. We're gonna give you guys 30 more seconds and then we're gonna get started. Oh, nice, 49 people. So the code is 540187.
Again, can we get a thumbs down if you can't connect to the Kahoot? Is everyone good with the Kahoot? Everyone good?
Okay, so we're gonna get our Kahoot started. We usually have the music on, so it's gonna get a bit quiet. So, what does G.I.R.L.S stand for? I don't know if you guys remember, but I said this at the beginning. Hopefully you do. It's good, instant, and radiant limits of STEM. Girls inspiring real leadership in STEM. Girls giving information of rational love with sisters. And a girl's real laziness in school. Okay, nice. There's 3 of you.
I'm kind of glad that almost everyone got that right.
I'm a bit worried about those 4 though. For the grade one. Okay, our second question. The fictional character Baymax is a what? So that's from the big marshmallow.
Big Hero 6?
Yeah.
I love that movie.
Me too. One of my favorite movies. So a singular mechanism, an electroconnected skeleton, a robot, or a talking squishmallow? A robot. Yeah.
I think we should build one of those.
I would love to have a Baymax. I would really. That would be something I really want. Birthday present?
Third question, who was the first Mexican-born woman to go to space? Our team had the chance to meet her recently for our school anniversary, so it was such a pleasure. She's an incredible woman. I love her.
She's a great networker. Hopefully, when we do another event like this, we can have her be as a speaker and all of you can meet her. Yeah, so. Angelina's in the leaderboard, followed by Grace, Alana, Marissa, and Tommy.
Rosalind Franklin was the first to discover DNA.
True or false? It is true. Rosalind Franklin was the first person to discover DNA.
Grace has now
taken the lead.
Yeah.
Okay, what does ROYGBIB stand for? I don't even think I know. Hold on. Radiant, ocular, yellow, goggles, bright, intelligence, variables, red, orange, yellow, green, blue, purple, indigo, violet, violet, orange, red, green, blue, indigo, yellow, red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, violet. I sound like a broken robot. Yeah, so take your guess, or if you know. I'm not saying that again, but it's the blue one.
Nice job.
So, Grace is still first in our leaderboard, followed by Allison, Brooklyn, Katie, and Angelina.
What do we do in SWENext, Maria?
Oh, I know this one. Do you guys know? Okay. I was gonna read out the answers, but I feel like with my tone of voice, you'll figure out the actual answer, so I'm gonna not say it. So yeah, SWENext is to promote women's diversity in STEM and engineering.
A lot of schools have local chapters, so if you're interested, you should definitely check that out, or even create a chapter of your own.
It's super easy. You can go on their website, and it's really fun. It's one of my favorite clubs. Grace is still at the top of our leaderboard. Let's see if anyone can be first or pass her. Okay, which of these is not a job in STEAM? It's a medical doctor, cashier, computer programmer, or chemist. The answer is cashier. So, oh, Angelina passed Katie, and now Angelina is fourth in our leaderboard. We still have, this is our 8th question.
Which of these studies is not a science? Physics, history, chemistry, or biology? Although I do love history, it is not a science. But 48 of you got that question right, and Grace is still on the top of our scoreboard. Good job, Grace.
Okay, whom of the following was a NASA space scientist? Katherine Johnson, Susan Kerr, Rebecca Hull, and Florence Nightingale. I'm trying to figure out the answer. So it's Katherine Johnson. I can hear the mix of reactions in the audience.
New person on the scoreboard. Nice. ISS stands for. This is for my NASA fans. Pretty sure you might know it.
And if you don't, you're gonna know now. So it's the International Space Station. Allison is still in the lead. This is our last question. Back to a Baymax question. So, which character in Big Hero 6 invents Baymax? I think
it's a tricky one.
Yeah. Again, one of my personal favorite movies. I'm really glad it showed up twice in our Kahoot. So yeah, it's Tanahashi Hamada that invented Baymax.
Again, thank you everyone for playing. We should find out who our winner is, right?
Drum roll, please. Third in the leaderboard is Grace. Second is Angelina.
And first place goes to Allison. So congratulations to our winners. Allison, could you please stand up or raise your hand? Great job.
Okay, so
make sure that you stop by a registration on your way out, and we will give you your prize. Congratulations.
Thank you everyone again for participating in our Kahoot. I know I have a lot of fun with Kahoots, and hopefully you guys did too. So we're now gonna move on to our second speaker. Or no, sorry, raffle. No. My bad, sorry. Okay, so our second speaker, Dr. Marie Shivago. She is a professional cartoonist, a well-published children's book author. She is the founder of Dr. Shivago Global Branding and Licensing, and has 26 years of collaboration and business partnership in retail, food, mobile app design, and development. Furthermore, Dr. Shivago has worked as a consultant and educator in visual and performing arts for education arts programs throughout Chula Vista and San Diego Unified School Districts. Kindergarten to high school. On a little bit of a side note, she was actually my BAPA teacher when I was in elementary, so it's really nice to see her again. She's a global advocate and keynote public speaker, presenter of STEAM, nonprofit programs and workshops, and even a Comic-Con international panelist for digital media and education. So could you all give her a round of applause?
The foundations of connection starts with your parents, right? My mom and dad sit here right now, and my sister and her daughter. And these are the connections that created me. My daughter's here as well. She's also a new member of Titanbot. So. Try something new, right? A little backstory. My grandfather, Thomas DeLopa, was the first Filipino to enlist in the United States Navy in 1903. He fought in World War I, and he was a hero. He wasn't a steward, right, Dad? He retired as a machinist mate, and that's unheard of. He's very smart. World War I, picture this. A battalion of Marines coming into the Philippines, getting ready, right? My grandfather was pushing the ship to the port, and the ship catches fire. My grandfather, Thomas, leaps out of the boat and manages to stop the leaking fuel valve that caused the inferno. He saved the battalion of Marines, the first Marines that to land in the Philippines. That's a hero to me. He retired, machinist mate, and he's happy. He didn't want to quit, so he joined the reserves. And he basically was happy in the Philippines. He had his American flag, his medals, his certificates. World War I, Japan occupancy. He was in his house, and all of a sudden, the Japanese invaded their town. They ransacked his home and found out he was a retired United States Navy machinist mate. They didn't believe him. They said, oh no, you're not Navy, no. No, he was. They took his medals, they took the flag, they took all of his certificates, tied him to a pole and said, you're an example of what's gonna happen to your town if you do anything. Well, he stayed on that pole with no food and water and was suffering. But miraculously, he escaped. He escaped and ran into the jungle, right, Dad? He escaped. Years later, my dad joined the United States Navy and fought in Vietnam War. And here he is sitting, and here I'm on stage. Now, let's talk about military wives, because they are the foundation of our heroes here. My mother from the United States, she was not really into technology. She didn't really know a lot about that, but she got a job at Kyocera International, Japanese. Now imagine that. My mom working in a Japanese company, and my dad and my grandfather was a POW. Now that's ironic. She got a job and worked her way up without any kind of experience or education in technology. I'm so proud of her. She was in charge of some amazing Japanese engineers in the 1980s, making small little microchips. And she would take it home and she would put it to work to make that extra money. So I know about those microchips. Oh my goodness, and we made so much money. We got to go to Disneyland and SeaWorld. But those are the connections that we have to create our foundation, and that's a strong foundation right there. My grandfather, Thomas DeLopa, will be in memory with a huge art installation that will be erected on a piece of wood, screwed in by a machinist mate. His name is Joe Pisano, and it is an art installation where he is coming out of the wall. This will be erected at USS Midway and then permanently installed at NTC Naval Training Center in Liberty Station this year, Veterans Day. I'm so proud of my family and what they've become. My sister, she works at UCSD. Right, Glenn? What do you do? Documentation improvement. She started out as a CNA, worked her way up as an RN, master's in public health. And now she is in control of all the campuses, all the UCSD campuses. I'm very proud of her. She's come a long way. That is the foundation and connections. I stand here today to kind of look into the audience and I see shy students, female, and I want to say, I was like you. I was an introvert, I was an art geek, and I really didn't do very well in art, to tell you the truth. I got an F in stick figures. I was like mortified. I went home and I cried. I was like, Dad, I got an F. She made me feel horrible. And my dad said he was painting something on his canvas. Marie, don't take that so badly. Just practice. Practice, practice, practice. And so I did. I practiced Snoopy. I drew him so many different variations. I was even short in school, so I was bullied, you know? But I made friends. They said, oh my goodness, you're the greatest artist. So I kept drawing, and I kept drawing, and I kept learning. And fast forward to high school. They asked me, what are you interested in doing after high school? What is your major? And I said, art. So I took a test, and they said, oh, you could be a future fashion designer. I said, yes, I'm gonna go to Paris, New York. So I graduated Fashion Institute of Design and Merchandising in 1989. Got a job making Walmart clothes. I learned a lot about how manufacturing overseas and how you make pattern pieces. So I was a computer-aided design technician. And that's where we inputted the patterns. And then it went overseas to India, mass-produced. The clothes were manufactured over there and then sent here to Walmart all over the nation. And that's what I learned, a lot about business. Fast forward to that. I was interested in the medical field. So I switched over to surgical technology, the right versus the left. I was really inspired by my sister because she was a nurse. And I said, I want to help people. So I became a surgical technologist, and I worked with the best surgeons in the county. We did neurosurgery. I actually saw the brain. I saved people's lives with vision. We helped repair vision, ENT, plastic surgery. We improved people. Orthopedics. I worked with the Olympic Training Center surgeon, Dr. Linehan, years ago. And Oasis. We repaired Chargers, NFL, like knees, broken knees, torn meniscus. So you name it, I was all over the county helping surgeons improve lives. Then I decided, I was like, I want a little bit more. I'm gonna go back into design. And I started my own business. But while I was working in surgery during the day, I was creating my business. And I was so tired. But those two things afforded my forever home here in Eastlake. So those decisions you're gonna make, you're probably not going to know what you're going to do right now, but have some kind of idea on what you want to do. And then it's okay if you switch careers. Do something that you really, really want to do. I am a former VAPA teacher, visual and performing arts, and I give props to the teachers here in both districts. But the arts is finally in STEAM. And that's where we need to make a difference. Because without the visions, how are you going to project what this product is? How are you going to market that? So I decided to dabble into artificial intelligence and augmented reality. All of these were just kind of things that, I really didn't know what to do and how to do it, but someone approached me and said, hey, can you create some animations for my app that I want to create? And I was like, sure. I didn't know what I was doing. I'm 50 years old, okay? I thought my brain was obsolete. So I had to pull that youth from the past and bring it forward and learn about 3D technology, artificial intelligence, and augmented reality. So we created an app called Pals AI, AR, and Pals Guessing Game. Roll the tape. I thought I'd show you the behind the scenes of how I create my cartoon characters, book, and app design and development.
Hi, nice to see you. This is all new to me. What? Oh yeah, the intro. Well, I'm sure you never knew the California State Bear had a cub before. Well, lol. My name is Callie Bear, and welcome to Dr. Zhivago's Comic Con International Panel. I meant Kids Day.
I graduated fashion design from Fashion Institute of Design and Merchandising, Los Angeles, and I also have a dual major in surgical technology. I did both. I worked daytime, I worked as a surgical technologist assisting top surgeons here in San Diego County, and at night I was developing my cartoon themed clothing line and my book. So I did all of those at the same time. I can't believe I did that. That was a challenge. Really it was. So I decided to show you what technology tools that I use to create the digital assets, whether it be for print or whether it be for web design, graphic design, architecture, product design, 3D applications, AR, artificial intelligence, whatever it is in digital media design. These are the tools that I use. I use basically the Apple ecosystem. Here is the app, artificial intelligence app that I created, and I use Blender to create the 3D animation. And then I love this Cintiq tablet. It's huge, it's heavy. I love it because it has this felt tip pen with an eraser. I also have a 3D connection, a super mouse, and that's like AutoCAD, so I really love that. If I am mobile, if I'm not at home, I take my MacBook Pro, so most likely I carry my iPad mini and use an Apple Pencil. I have to have the updated technology because what you are creating for the consumers, basically you have to have updated software with the updated tools. You can't be working on obsolete technology and market for those kinds of updates. It's really difficult. So let's just say that you want to design software program and you must have iPhone 11 or higher because that's what you're coding for. You cannot use it on a iPhone 7. You have to use it for anything iPhone 11 or higher. And then working with iPads are different too. So there's the mobile phone coding, and then there's coding for the iPad. Okay, so this is what I'm learning from my software engineer. He's phenomenal. His name is Woody Lee. He worked for PayPal, and he also worked for Visa. and now he's working for another IT company that is home base was San Diego. Now he's in the Bay Area. So working with him is absolutely so much fun.
A little bit about my background. I have a bachelor's degree in computer science from one of the best UC school, and in my opinion, UC San Diego, right here. I also have an MBA at Santa Clara University up north, where I currently resides in. I'm currently a software developer, specifically on iOS development for an IT company called ServiceNow. And that also has a company here in San Diego as well. I get to work remotely, which is great. So I've been building apps ever since, just for fun, and just do something out there. Because by doing so, I keep learning new things at a time. And that's how I ended up meeting Marie. We just basically hit it off. She has an awesome skill set doing 3D arts. And since I'm doing development, I cannot draw. So it was a blessing that we actually met each other and be able to work together. We worked together. We showcased that at Comic-Con, and right there, even though we never met in real life, we know we get along really well. So that's the synergy that we have together to build applications.
So let me show how we designed this app. Let me guess app. So the first thing was that we use just regular piece of paper, just draw our idea down, how the user interface can look like. Now we redraw it on as a prototype onto an application called Sketch, and it could be anything else too. It could be Figma, but this is what we use. And I made this and I sent it to Marie. She looked at it, gave her opinion about it, and then we reiterate some of the stuff, just written down in Swift code, all this stuff. So basically, she sent me the art, and I merged them all into the code, and that's how we work together.
So I hope that what we have done together, Marie and I, will inspire you guys to come up with your own ideas, and also see how that art and technology can actually blend together to make this happen. Just in terms of the application itself, Marie's going to do a demo to showcase what the final result looks like. And as you can be able to tell us that the final result doesn't necessarily look exactly the same as what we did in Sketch. So that's how software development works. We just keep on revolve and come up with new ideas and so forth.
Hello guys, have a great day.
And you can tap on it, and he did all the coding so that when you tap on it, it changes color. And then it is connected to AWS Amazon. Turn on living room light. Yay, it worked. We also developed an app called Pals Ask Me a Question, or guessing game. So this is what this app does.
Hello there, my name is Wizard Owl. Click on any object and I will guess. You can then tell me whether I am right or wrong. Let's begin. Chest. Modem. Remote control. Remote.
And one last thing about the app, it actually consists of 3D arts that was shown, plus augmented reality, and also machine learning.
So here is the Sakura, the very first book that I created, and I did the book cover and designed the cartoon characters. And I also wrote the book, Hakura. I've never been to Japan. I studied and I did my research, and so the book is about peace, about the sakura tree, about deforestation. It's about how a sinister white fox tried to capture the element of life hidden within the sakura tree. In order for the fox to take over the world, she has to get the element of life, which is hidden in the sakura tree in Dragonfly Island. And the protector of that tree was chosen by the tree itself. The tree blew a single seed, blossom, and it searched for the enlightened child and found the enlightened child, which is Mariko. It's how Japan used the cherry blossom trees to signify peace between USA and Japan.
Once upon a time, there lived an enchanted tree called Sakura. This legendary tree was deeply rooted within Dragonfly Island. The island's ancient soil was pure and untouched by earth dwellers. A sinister white fox and her army of grunts hunted after the Sakura's magical powers for her own dark kingdom. The Sakura blew a seed of hope within the blossom across the ocean to find an enlightened child. This special child was able to transform the Sakura's energy into a powerful force field, shielding the white fox's historic attacks on Dragonfly Island for good. This is the story of the Sakura.
Titanbot robotics student created the bands and printed the 3D versions of those. I want him to come up on stage because I received Chula Vista Champion medal. His mother is the foundation of that. Annie, this is also for you. And for the many people that donated fabrics to my cause, you're welcome. Thank you so much. You have no idea. In the future, I'd like Titanbot to do more for the community, things like that, to save our lives, because you guys matter. You're our future. Thank you so much. Arigatou gozaimasu.
Thank you so much, Dr. Shivago. It was really, sorry, Mike. It was really nice seeing your presentation. And as someone who's interested in both computer science and art, I feel more prepared to whatever's coming in the future. Please, let's give another round of applause to Dr. Shivago and her family joining us today. So we're going to take another Sorry. So we're gonna take a short snack break. We have snacks set up outside, and you have 10 minutes to go eat, stretch, and yeah. So we'll give you a 5-minute warning, or not warning, an announcement, so you can come back in for our next speakers. Snacks will be on your my left-hand side, your right-hand side. Please go through the door. We will also be handing out raffle tickets.
As a small business owner, you're the boss, right? So why let your business internet contracts be the boss of you? With Spectrum Business, you're never locked in. Get fast, reliable internet, no contracts. Now that's a boss move.
Grammarly helps you work more efficiently, which makes accomplishing your work goals easier.
you for coming inside. Hope you all enjoyed your snacks and everyone got a raffle ticket. Our next speaker, I would love to introduce Ms. Justina Aten, who is a clinical laboratory scientist at the University of California, San Diego, in the Immunogenetics and Histocompatibility Laboratory. Did I say that right? Ms. Aten served in the United States Navy for 10 years as a hospital corpsman. During that time, she worked in direct patient health care with a concentration in oncology and infectious diseases. From 2000 on, she worked in all facets.
It's just music to get everyone excited.
From 2000 on, she worked in all facets of the clinical laboratory, including hematology, coagulation, immunohematology, oh my god, I'm so sorry, and other highly technical areas. Currently, Ms. Aten performs molecular serology testing to aid in organ transplantation throughout San Diego County. I'm pretty sure you know you made it when I can't pronounce your name.
I know.
Thank you so much for joining us, Ms. Aten, and please give a round of applause for Justina Aten.
Hello. Hi, how is everybody? Come on, you like science? Okay, science. All right. My name is Justina, and welcome to my presentation. I have a master's in forensic science, but I'm not working in forensic science. I am a clinical laboratory scientist, and it's hard to explain, so I'm gonna have Noah do this video for me. Can you hit the video?
Okay.
Sorry about the ads, so you can kind of see what we do.
If you need blood, I'll be there to find you a perfect match. And yes, there's more to it than ABO and RH.
You name it, I can discover it. Our tasks are limitless. All I need is a little body.
It's as if we're detectives working together to solve your case.
Medical laboratories account for 70% of medical decisions. They diagnose and treat you.
Having fertility issues? I'll find out for you.
I can look at a blood smear for 1 second and tell if you have iron deficiency, sickle cell anemia, or leukemia. And the list goes on and on.
I can discover your grandfather's prostate cancer early enough for successful recovery.
It is rewarding. I go home every day knowing that I made a difference in people's lives.
What do you guys think about that? I know it looks pretty boring, huh? Anybody? You know, actually it's a lot more stressful than that. I just like that video because it gives a really quick overview.
Let this sweet mineral melt in your mouth to rebuild your gums and teeth while you sleep, and say goodbye to the dentist.
All right. All right, are we ready? Everybody? Are we ready? Everybody? Okay, everybody stand up. Everybody stand up. Come on, I know nobody wants to stand up. Everybody stand up. I know you guys just had snacks and you're just like, your bellies are full and all the blood is down into your tummy. So, go like this. Here we go. Okay, we're gonna do the wave. Are we ready? All right, all right. Okay, is everybody awake now? Everybody awake? Yes? Awake? Awake? Come on, be loud, be excited. This is science. We're all scientists. If you have a questioning mind, if you want to know answers, that makes you a scientist. Okay, where do CLSs work? Hospitals, clinics, reference laboratories, histocompatibility and immunogenetics, which is organ transplant lab, which is where I work. Biotechnology, think Illumina, Lilly, Pfizer, any of the drug companies really. Public health, pharmaceutical companies, crime laboratories, yes, you can be a crime scene investigator, that's part of this too, and also the military. Okay, so how do you become a CLS? Well, first you need to get your bachelor's degree, and you can get a bachelor's, you need to get it in science. There's additional classes that are required, and after you graduate, you have to do a one-year internship before you can get your license. So it's similar to a graduate degree. There's a national board and then a state licensure. Oh my gosh, it's like, why do we need all this education to do something? Just run a test, you know, why do you need that? Well, I'll explain to you. Okay, you need all this education because of the way this job is. So, first of all, we're gonna talk about what traits make a good CLS. I believe the first thing is a love of science. You have to like science. If you don't like science, this is not the field for you. You need to like to learn, because every day I learn something new. I've been doing this since '99, and every day, even last night, I worked last night, I got home at 9 o'clock this morning, and I was like, whew, I can't believe that happened. Every day it's like that. The ability to multitask, you got people calling you, doctors, nurses, they're like, where's my result, where's my result? You have to be able to give it to them quickly. Communicate effectively, ability to make ethical decisions. We know things about patients that are very private, and you can't be going around and telling your friends. So you have to keep that kind of, you know, keep that guarded. You have to have good hand-eye coordination. If you're good at video games, who's good at video games? Come on, I know more of you guys play video games, come on. Okay, video games, you'll be good at this job too, because it's really important when you're using a pipette. The only thing is you cannot be colorblind. Is anybody colorblind in this audience? Oh, well, sorry, CLS is not for you, because you have to be able to discriminate between different colors because of the test. All right, so there's different types of licensing in California. There's a generalist, which is what I am, and then there's versus specialist CLS. So if you specialize, then that means you can only work in that particular field. So there's a CLS chemist. So this is for people that are they really only want to work into chemistry. They have to get a chemistry degree, and then they do an entire year of everything dealing with chemistry, endocrinology, immunology, serology, that kind of stuff. Cytogeneticists, these are the people that if you have any kind of genetic testing done, let's say when you have a child and they do the newborn screening, that test goes to these people. They do the degree in biology, chemistry, or clinical lab, and then they have to do a year in a specialized lab for cytogenetics. Molecular biologist, you see a trend here, right? Biology degree, molecular biology, genetics, and this is this field right now is blowing up. Molecular is where everything is going now. It's all about DNA. It's all about those little ACTG, anybody? No one? Okay. Oh, sorry, nerdy humor. All right, CLS, hematologist. This is hematology, same thing, a year in hematology and coag. Histocompatibility, that's where I work. This is also called tissue typing, HLA cross-matching, and this is to make sure that these people can get their organs. So for organ transplant, heart transplant, kidney transplant, we're the ones that do the testing for that. Blood bank. Now, blood bank, I know you guys have heard of blood bank. If you've ever seen, well, not seen, but if there's a car accident and somebody gets, they lose a lot of blood, They'll go to the hospital and they will do something called a massive transfusion protocol, and the blood bankers are the ones that cross-match that blood and make sure it's safe for them to be used. Microbiologist, this is the fun job. This is where you get to be a real detective and figure out what bacteria is causing an infection. These people are also the ones that did all the COVID testing. The COVID testing was right next to my lab, and so when we were right in the beginning of the pandemic, these folks were so busy, just testing. Toxicologist, this is for chemistry, specifically analytical chemistry. And the generalist. Okay, so generalist is kind of a jack of all trades of the laboratory. This is what I do. Basically, I can work in any area that I listed above. I've worked in all these areas except for cytogenetics. I haven't had that pleasure to do that. Currently, I'm working at UCSD COM. I've been there for 2.5 years. It's up in La Jolla. Have any of you been up to UCSD up in La Jolla? Have you guys been over by Campus Point across the street? Okay, so that's where I'm located. We're located in a little, it's a big, actually a large reference lab. You can see all of San Diego from there. And I work graveyard shift. So I got home this morning at 9 o'clock, so I'm a little sleepy right now. So I hope you guys aren't sleepy, but I'm a little sleepy. My favorite areas, besides where I'm working now, is hematology. I used to be a supervisor. When I was in the military, I was supervisor of hematology. Blood bank, because you really are saving lives in the blood bank. If somebody needs blood, you have to make sure if you do it incorrectly and it's not compatible, you can kill somebody right away. So it's a very high stress environment. And then microbiology, because you get to play with bugs. Okay, so I know people want to know the pay scale. We all love science, but we really want to know how much you're going to make in California. So for entry level, right after you get out of your internship and you take your test, you're going to make anywhere from $87,000 to $103,000 a year. Mid-range, $100,000 to $116,000 a year. Senior will be $130,000 to $160,000. A supervisor CLS can make anywhere from $145,000 to $180,000. This is not including a shift differential. Depending on where you work, you'll make anywhere. It just depends. Anywhere from $4 to like $8 or $9 an hour, and then you get extra for weekends and holidays. The pay is much better at hospital. Highest pay is biotechnology, but if you want benefits, I know you guys probably don't worry about that now, but when you get older, you will. Okay, so is being a CLS an important job? Okay, a lot of people do not know about this profession. It is like super under the radar. Nurses and doctors, everybody knows what they do, but CLSs are kind of like ninjas. You know, we're behind the scenes and we're doing a lot, but people don't realize that, you know, like even on shows, if you watch like a medical show, you'll see the doctor go in the lab and they're like, ooh, this person has malaria. And you're like, that's not the doctor who does it, that's what we do. 70 to 80% of medical decisions are based on lab results. I mean, think about that for a minute. You know, you go in, you have a school physical, and you're like, oh, I've been having this abdominal pain or whatever, and then they send you for lab work. And when that lab work, as soon as it comes to the lab, that's when we start figuring out what's going on. Let's see. If you want to work behind the scenes in healthcare, research, forensics, or organ transplantation, I really highly suggest this job. The pay is good, it's very rewarding, but you don't really have to deal with a lot of people. So if you're not one of those people, you like the science, but you don't want to deal with social, you know, like dealing with a lot of people, this is a really good job. And I mean, basically, do you want to make a difference? I mean, you can make a difference in any job, but in this job in particular, it's such an important field. I mean, think about it. I mean, it affects everybody. And so I just wanted to talk about these pictures. So the top left, this woman has a pipette in her hand. We do a lot of pipetting like this where I work, and that's a hood. So basically, it's to keep you safe from any bacteria or anything. The bottom, right below that, that's chemistry. That's what chemistry does. The man in the middle, that's an analyzer. It's a chemistry analyzer. That's another part of our job. If you work in that part of the lab, you have to maintain these machines. So not only are you doing biology, but you're doing like some engineering as well, which I didn't realize I was gonna have to do that when I got to this field. See, you're like a car mechanic, but on these machines, they become your babies. You wanna make sure that they're working well. The top right, that woman is aliquoting a syringe of blood from a regular bag of blood, and that's for a neonate, that's for a baby. I used to do that at Sharp Memorial when I worked there. So you can't give a baby the same amount of blood that you would an adult. And then in the right, that's a woman that's in hematology. Behind her is pictures of white blood cells, and she's looking at a microscope. Okay. All right, so do you want to be a detective? You know, is this something, do you have that, like, that oomph in your, you know, do you really want to learn? Do you really want to, like, have a different, you know, you see different things all the time? So the top picture on the left, does anybody want to take a stab at what that is? Anyone? Anyone? No one? What? What?
Are those platelets?
Yeah, there are some platelets up there. The really tiny ones, those are platelets. There are platelets. That was really good. You work in the lab? How do you know that? She's like, haha, I'm a CLS too. Yes, those little bitty ones are platelets. How about those red ones? They kind of look pink. What do you guys think those are? What do you think those are?
The red ones?
Yeah, the red ones on the left side at the top. Yeah, erythrocytes. Ooh, she using big language now. Yeah, that's right. Erythrocytes, RBCs. Very good. What's your name?
Isabel?
Isabel, good job. Wow, I don't even use that term. Erythrocytes, let me correct myself. Yes, and those big blue and purple, what do you think those are? Oh, she's gonna tell me.
Is the disease leukemia or is it
Did you just Google this? I wanna know, did you like do a reverse image or something?
those are erythrocytes, right?
Yes, very good. Those are called blasts. So that, yeah, no, I mean, that is leukemia. That's actually ALL. That's acute lymphocytic leukemia. Those are lymphocytes that are blasts. So those are baby cells, as we call them. You don't want baby cells in your, the bone marrow is going to push us out. You don't want baby cells. You want mature cells, because mature cells are what make everything run. That's really good. Wow. Okay, second on the top. Okay, so we already know those are erythrocytes, right? Because Isabel told us. But do they look like the other ones? Do they look like the ones on the left? What do you guys think? Do you think they do? Do you think they look the same? Do you think they're nice and round? Or do you think there's something going on with those in the middle? Yeah. Something going on, right? That patient has sickle cell. Have you guys heard of sickle cell anemia? So those red cells, see, they kind of look like a sickle. They're kind of like a banana, but they're sharp. Red cells, in order to oxygenate the blood, to carry oxygen, they need to be round. They're called biconcave. And that's how they transport the oxygen. So those sickle cells, that's why when they say sickle cell crisis, it's very painful for the patient, because those sickle cells are trying to go through your blood vessels, and it hurts really bad. But when we look at that slide, we know, we're like, oh my gosh, this patient's in sickle cell crisis. Okay, the one on the right, those are red cells. But look, there's something in those red cells. What do you think? Anybody? What do you think's in those red cells?
Bugs.
Bugs. You just said bugs. Did someone say bugs?
I said bugs.
You don't count. Sorry, that's my husband. Yes, he used to work in the lab too. Okay, there are bugs in there, but this is a specific kind of bug. This is malaria. So malaria is a parasite, and it's a blood parasite. So this is a ring form, and it's a trophozoite. This is that part of the life cycle. So I've had times when I was in the military where they just set a CBC down, and I looked in this slide and I saw that, and I was like, oh my gosh, that patient has malaria, and she was pregnant, and she didn't know. And so I had to call the ER, and the doctor had to come down. So that's what I'm talking about when I say that our job is, because you could just be going through that slide and not paying attention and miss it. And yeah, so that's malaria. Okay, so at the bottom on the left, that is an electron microscope. That is COVID-19. That is what COVID-19 looks like. That's exactly what it looks like under the scope. The second one is strep pyogenes, also known as strep throat. One is the Gram stain. It's a gram-positive cocci. And on the right is a plate. That's a red blood cell plate, and it's beta hemolytic. So basically, it lyses the red cells in the plate. That's why it has that kind of halo. And then the one on the right is monkeypox. I'm sure you guys have been hearing about that, right? Monkeypox in the news. That's what it looks like under the microscope. So, all right, one more. Okay, so science is a way of thinking. Carl Sagan. Don't let anybody tell you that you're not a scientist, even if you don't work as a scientist. If you are, I feel like it's a lifestyle. If you question things and you're inquisitive, then you're a scientist, okay? This is a picture of my family and I. You know, we're all big science buffs, and all of these pictures on here are things that I do, but just more complicated, because it's kind of hard to explain it, because there's a lot of molecular that goes into it, and genetics, but Yeah, I mean, I hope you guys really think about this field. I mean, you have my information, that's my information, so you can always email me if you're just even interested in it and you want to like see what it's like. I can try to get you maybe on a tour in the lab. But I mean, it's a fun place to work. It can be stressful at times, but it's fun to do. So does anybody have any questions real quick? Questions? Wow, you guys are quiet. Are your tummies full? Yes.
What's the most challenging and what's the most rewarding part of your job?
Ooh, the most challenging is the time restraints because like the testing that we do for a cross match for organ transplantation takes 4 to 6 hours, but like sometimes they need it right away. Like the kidney will come in the box. Like last night I had a kidney come in the box and they're like they're taking it to OR and they're like, we need it now, but you physically cannot get done before 4 hours. So it's kind of that you kind of can't just sit on things. You have to really, you got to move. So you have to do it. It's detail or attention to detail, and you still have to be quick about it. So I think that's the most challenging. And then the phone calls. Sometimes it's like endless phone calls, and we're kind of like the unloved, like we're kind of like the stepchildren of like healthcare. So a lot of people like to blame the lab. It's like, you clotted my sample, you did this. And we're like, oh, we got like 50 samples. We didn't do it, I promise. So, I mean, if you like to be kind of like a, I don't know, on the outside and be like a renegade, this is that field. As far as the most rewarding, I think, is seeing people get transplanted. Like right now in my profession, I mean, we see people, I've seen kids that have been on the transplant list for hearts, and then you're the last one that did that cross match and they got a heart. And you're like, oh my gosh, yes, you know, it's like there's people that have been waiting for years to get a kidney, and they get their kidney, and it's because of the testing that we do. And that's very rewarding, you know, but yeah, so that's it. Oh, yes, oh, it's Isabel again, erythrocytes, yes.
Wait, could you give us a second? Sorry. Could you write all of your questions down on your little notebook? Because we need to start moving on to our raffle. But don't worry, we're gonna have a panel right now, so you get to ask all of the questions.
I'm so sorry.
Oh, no, it's okay.
She's making me leave. No, I'm just kidding.
Amazing speaker.
No, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm tired too. So, okay, I'm sorry. You guys, like, save your questions, okay? Sorry about that.
It's okay. So write them down so you can ask them later at the panel. I'm sorry for cutting you short. Yeah, so we're gonna go into our little raffle. Yeah, give a round of applause.
Ms. Chen is truly the definition of dedication to her job. She was up and ready. Thank you so much for joining us today, Ms. Chen. I think she deserves another round of applause.
Okay, so we're gonna begin our first raffle. Okay, so everyone was given raffle tickets, and one of our final prizes, which will be announced at the end of the conference, and we have a general raffle ticket.
We will be announcing our first 2 winning ticket numbers, so please have your tickets out and raise your hand if you believe you have the winning ticket. Again, prizes will be awarded at the end of the conference, so please stop by our registration table to exchange your ticket for your prize.
So we're gonna start picking out a ticket. Could we have a drum roll, please?
Okay, first winning ticket number, 461700.
Does anyone have it?
Nice! Your ticket and then exchange the tickets for your prize at registration. Congratulations!
Okay, now we are also doing a second raffle right now, so another drum roll, please. The number is 461720. Anyone? No? I'll give you 3 seconds.
No raise hands?
Take it or leave it. Okay, I'm gonna pick another one then. Another drum roll, please. Ticket number 461695. I must really be unlucky. Okay, we're picking out another one. The third one's the charm. Okay, ticket number 795650. Okay. I think I'm not gonna pick anymore. I think I just have bad luck. Another last, hopefully. Drum roll, please.
I know you guys are getting tired of those drum rolls. Winning ticket number is 461739. Okay, now I just think I'm unlucky. But congratulations to our two winners. Again, there's going to be a lot of more raffles throughout the conference, so don't give up yet. We're going to have a lot of these coming in. So now we're going to move on to our last but not least, Dr. Mary Isaac as our speaker. Dr. Mary Isaac is a passionate practitioner and researcher interested in improving female engagement and retention in engineering and technology through formal and informal communities of practice. She is a Tech Trek program director at AAUY, California, a STEM summer enrichment program for middle school girls across California. She is also a Society of Women Engineers Fellow and an outreach advocate. Sweetie! She worked in many different areas of global energy business in General Electric for over 30 years and retired from an executive position to focus on engaging more females in engineering. Her research interests lie in examining the social, cultural, economic aspects of engaging and retaining females in engineering and technology fields, and partners actively with several organizations committed to equality, equity in education and assessment related to STEM initiatives, including FIRST Robotics. So could you all give Dr. Mary Isaac a round of applause?
Thank you, thank you. Thank you. This is great. I haven't been out in public too much in the last couple of years like many of you, so this may be a little strange. I've been involved with FIRST Robotics now for 5 or 6 years. I've been involved with SWE for 35 years. So I did not get involved as SWENext. We did not have SWENext back then. I am from New York, upstate New York, one of 8 kids. And do you have my presentation? Okay, so we're going to talk about connections for life. And one of the things that, I'm a mechanical engineer, and one of the things that is, I explain to people the difference. They always say, what's the difference between this type of engineer and another type of engineer? Mechanical engineers want things to move. So their connections are extremely important, and to have connections that have little friction, that move very smoothly. So connections are a critical thing to mechanical engineers. Let's see. So let's talk about, I forgot this was going to do that. Talk about connections, our first connections. And I think you brought it up, Dr. Zhivago, your family, right? Your family is your first connection. They're an everlasting connection. This is my family. At a reunion, part of my family anyway, about 30 years ago. I'm way up there in the back. The people in yellow are my mother and my grandmother and her sister, and 2 of her sisters. The only one who is still alive is my mom. So things do change. This is my family a couple of years ago, 2013. My mom's on the right, my dad's on the left. My dad and one of my brothers in the back, the ones with the hearts over their head, have passed away from cancer. And this is my family currently. This is my, up here is my husband, my son, and his girlfriend, their kids, my husband's daughter and her kids and family. So that's at the San Diego Zoo. And then this is my real family. This is my dogs, who are very important to me. I'm doing a presentation this coming Tuesday called "My Dogs Taught Me Everything I Need to Know About Dealing with People." So it's a very important thing. But our first connections are the most everlasting connections, and in some cases they're the connections that have the biggest impact on us as we go through life. And you may not realize it until much later in life. Even though I'm a mechanical engineer, I've spent the last 15 years of my life studying social science, studying the reasons why girls don't want to go into STEM fields, and in particular, why girls seem so turned off by engineering and technology. So if you look at your next connection, really, you know, you leave your family, you go to school. So when you go into school, it's all about education. It's all about learning. And if you look at learning, learning is really about making connections, isn't it? It's not about, it's about meeting people. It's about new ideas. It's about connecting ideas to things that maybe you have personally inside of you that you're interested in. And Albert Bandura is a psychologist, and he studied a lot about social science. So he invented something called the social learning theory and talks about how we learn. We don't learn in a vacuum. You have to engage with your environment. You engage with your own personal behaviors. So it's a constant back and forth, two-way kind of interaction between you and your environment, the people, the physical environment that you're in. And that's how we transact life. And so later in life, he changed that from the social learning concept to social cognitive, because cognition is really about learning. That's where that term comes from. So the next step in your education, you've got all this book learning, you've got math, science, arithmetic, is connecting to yourself. How do you connect? That existentialism. How do you then look at yourself and say, who am I? How do I fit in this big world? What's my purpose? And how am I going to share anything that I gain from this experience with other people? So it's very important for you to take the time to connect with yourself, to reflect on who you are and what values you have and what values you want to contribute to the world. So it's not about what I know, but it's about how do I share and what do other people need from me that I can share with them. And so I wanted to share, actually that should have been the last picture, but so what I want to share with you is this. This is my transcript. That's a 2.69. What do you think that translates to? Anybody want to guess? Curved? What does a 2.69 GPA translate into? A degree? A degree? That's what it translates into. So I was not an A student, and I'm pretty smart. But I was not an A student because I didn't see any point in applying myself to all of that stuff. I was a single mom. I was a musician. I did so many things, and I had so many interests. They call that a polymath, by the way. Somebody that has so many interests in life and they just have a hard time settling on it. My grades in high school, I was great in English, science, math, so what do you pick? I picked the thing that was the easiest when I first started out, right? I said English. That's the easiest. I ended up going back later to becoming an engineer. And even so, it was hard. This was not easy for me to do. So to graduate, I graduated with a 2.69 average. And I thought I wanted to be a musician, not an engineer. And so I stopped after high school and I played guitar. I sang in bars. I traveled around and did the things that a lot of kids, well actually mostly guys did at that time. But I decided I was going to do that, and then I gave it up because I had a son. And I said, how am I going to take care of him? Am I going to be a musician for the rest of my life? I love music. But am I going to be a musician? No. No, I said I'm going back for engineering and I'm going to keep music as my sideline. That's my fun, that's my hobby, that's my go-to place when I need a break, is to go into music. So I never got sick of it because it didn't become a job. And that's the thing that I take away from that. So the next step is to start connecting to others. And so once you figured yourself out, now you have to figure out, how am I going to work with other people? And the things that you need to remember is that you can do this both formally and informally. It's all about knowledge sharing. It's all about picking other people's brains about what it is that they like, and also sharing what you have, what you know. And the most important thing is this, what's called collective efficacy. Collective power. By working together with other people and connecting with other people, we can amplify the message. We can maximize the message. We can make sure people hear what we need them to hear. And we collaborate. When we collaborate, it's like we build on the momentum of the people before us, or the people that have the idea. You grab on and you just keep going. And that accelerates, that speeds up the impact. So one of the most important things is connecting to community. Because, I mean, I run another program called Tech Trek in the state of California, and we work with girls in 7th and 8th grade. And one of the most important things that we tell them is that you have to find your community, you have to find your tribe. Once you find your tribe, the people that you feel understand you and they get you, that's going to make it so much easier for you to feel supported and to feel like you're not alone in what it is that you're doing. And some of the ways that we've done that are through SWE and SWENext. And SWE, Society of Women Engineers, not the Society of Welding Engineers, as somebody said to me once. So the point is, you got to find a passion. Find something that you like to do. My passion, and by the way, your passion changes over time, right? It doesn't always stay the same. So you have passions for different things at different points in your life, but find a passion. And then you have to live that passion. You have to do things with intention to meet that passion. Always leverage your strengths. Whatever your strengths are, take advantage of those, but find ways to strengthen whatever you need developmental help in. Strength. And this one is a big one. This one will help you in high school, college, life, whatever you want. Under promise and over deliver. That to me is one of the most important things that you can take away. When you make a commitment for something, hedge a little bit. Don't give them everything you got, and then make sure you knock it out of the park when it comes time to deliver. And social capital. You know what real capital is, right? Real capital is money, it's things, property, it's having tangible assets. Social capital is the capital you get. How many of you are involved with FIRST Robotics? How many parents are involved with FIRST? Yeah. That's called social capital. That's people volunteering their time to make the world go round. And it is what makes the world go round. So if people tell you that the economic system is flawed, today it is flawed because we don't count the value of our social capital. And we need to fix that. And this, I've done this before, and I've talked to people that are getting close to retirement. For all of you, I know many of you, if you're involved in robotics, you're already doing it, but don't wait till you retire before you start volunteering. Get involved early, because that will then become a lifelong commitment in your mind that this is something important for you to do. And then leaders who volunteer, they make great bosses. People who volunteer and understand the value of volunteering, and they also hire people who volunteer. When I look at job descriptions, I looked at the whole person. I looked at what does this person do outside of work. I don't look at just what they do in work, because I want somebody that's going to contribute to my work community. So, one of the things on this last page, whoops, the SWENext San Diego, this is a QR code. You can grab onto that and sign up for SWENext. Guys can sign up, girls can sign up, parents can sign up, everybody can sign up for SWENext, and what it'll do is keep you informed on the activities that are going on in the San Diego area. It also will keep you informed. Scholarships. I know this year, Sweet San Diego, we only have, what, 4 scholarship applications? 4 scholarship, and there was thousands and thousands of dollars available. So I encourage you all to take advantage of that. We are going to be doing, I didn't put it up here though, we are going to be doing a talk on getting ready for college called Not a Minute to Waste, charting your STEM career through high school on Thursday night, I believe it is. And we'll make sure that we share the link with Isabel and the team so that they can share it with everybody that was here. So thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Dr. Mimi. As you said, connections are super important, and that's why we have communities like First Robotics and SWENext. Thank you. We will now do our third and fourth raffle.
Well, we let our panelists prepare. You guys can come in. Sorry, there's going to be a little bit of movement. We're going to be shuffling around, getting the tables ready for our panelists.
Not to worry.
In the meantime, well, we will be announcing the winners of our third and fourth raffle. Again, please make sure that you have your tickets ready, and raise your hand if you believe you have the winning raffle ticket. Again,
all of your hands should be up. Come on. Yeah. you gotta be positive. I won't be picking out the ticket. Okay.
Winning raffle number is 461729. Do we have a show of a hand? No?
No? Want us to repeat the number, just in case? Yes? No? Oh, okay. Oh, hi. You can come up to the front so we can give her.
Congratulations. Let's give her a round of applause. Can we?
Now we will do our fourth raffle. Drum roll, please.
Move a little bit. Ticket number 461757. Congratulations!
Okay, so that's the raffles. So one of Titanbot's biggest traditions is going all out with Team Spirit. And we had the honor to win the Spirit Award at our Central Valley Regional. So
today, we would like to invite everyone to join us in doing one of our favorite things at our robotics competition, besides, competing, right?
Yeah.
Dancing!
Yeah, so if you could all stand up. I know you guys have been sitting for so long.
It's good to have some movement.
Yeah, it's healthy for your body. We're gonna stretch a little before we start. Yeah. Raise your hand. Down. Okay, so, music?
Visa is a network that makes online shopping so quick and easy. You might have time to get into this, that, this, and discover your destiny. Wherever your passion takes you, pay easily with Visa.
We're here in downtown Lafayette where everyone's excited about the new dance that's sweeping the nation. It's called the Cupid Shuffle.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, help me welcome to the stage your friend and mine, Cupid!
New Cupid. Time for a change. New style, down, do your dance, we got a brand new dance. Down, do your dance, New style, do your dance, down, do your dance, New style, They say I'm a rapper, and I say no. They say what you doing, trying to do somebody cold. I just let the music yourself. Now walk it by yourself. Down, down, do your dance, do your dance. Come on, down, down, do your dance, do your dance. Let me see you do the Cupid. Down, do your dance, do your dance. Down, down, do your dance, do your dance. To the right, to the right, to the right, to the right, to the left, to the left, to the left, to the left. Now kick, now kick, now kick, now kick. Now walk it by yourself. Now walk it by yourself. To the right, to the right, to the right, to the right, to the left, to the left, to the left, to the left. Now kick, now kick, now kick, now kick. Now walk it by yourself. Now walk it by yourself. Now you see what I'm talking about. Oh, I represent for the dirty South, where we're known for swinging now. King of swing out, baby. I'm gonna show you what I'm talking about. Down, down, do your dance, do your dance. Down, down, do your dance, do your dance. Let me see you do the Cupid shuffle, the Cupid, Cupid shuffle, the Cupid shuffle, the Cupid, Cupid shuffle. Down, down, do your dance, do your dance. From that boy Cupid, yeah. The king of swing out, baby. Yeah. Here we go. To the right, the right, the right, the right, the right, the left, the left, the left, the left, the left. Now kick, now kick, now come on, baby, kick. Now walk it by yourself, walk it by yourself. To the right, to the right, to the right, the right, the right, the left, to the left, to the left, the left, the left. Now kick, now kick, now kick, now kick, now walk it by yourself, walk it by yourself, and do the Cupid shuffle. Now let me see you do the Cupid shuffle. Now let me see you do the. It's your boy Cupid, C-U-P, the I to D. Mr. Fat on the track, got another hit indeed. Down, down, do your dance, do your dance. Come on, come on. Down, down, do your dance, do your dance. Let me see you do your dance, do your dance. Do your dance. Down, down, do your dance, do your dance. Down, down, do your dance, do your dance. We got a brand new dance. We got a brand new sound. We got a brand new feel. We got a brand new style, y'all.
Presentations. Inside of our speaker pamphlets, you will find example questions that assist in everyone's engagement during our panel.
We would like to welcome back our 4 speakers and introduce our 2 panelists joining us this morning.
For those of you joining us online, please feel free to write in your questions in the chat. We look forward to seeing you have the chance to engage during our event as well.
We will be reading out those messages so your questions get answered. First, we would like to introduce Chelsea Ballinger. She's the lead systems engineer at Booz Allen, working as an engineering consultant. She has earned her undergraduate degree in physics at UCSD and has her master's in mechanical engineering at SDSU. Then moved to work for the Department of Defense and now is at Booz Allen, Hamilton.
Our next panelist, Ms. Marilyn Stuck, is a senior consultant working in program management and cybersecurity with Booz Allen Hamilton. She earned her bachelor's in international security at SDSU and moved on to gain her master's in cybersecurity at CSU San Marcos. She has worked through many unique internships and has been at General Atomics developing drone technology for the U.S. Marine Corps, and then moved on to Sony and finally Booz Allen Hamilton. Please, let's give a round of applause for our panel.
Raise your hands if you have any questions so I can come over with the mic. I have 2 questions for Ms. Eaton. One, is genetic engineering a part of CLS?
Not the engineering part, but genetic testing is. So it just depends, because we do genetic testing where I work. Molecular biology, they do genetic testing, and then cytogenetics does, it's very complicated though, it just keeps more and more complicated, but if that's something you're interested in, like genetic engineering, then I would definitely, I mean, you could go and get like your PhD, and then you would end up working like in a genetics laboratory.
And, thank you, and you said that you worked with the military at some point. Is there any possible like types of genetic or biology professions in the military, working in active duty or reservists or enlisted?
Yeah, actually I was in the military for 10 years. I was a corpsman, which is basically you work with patients, and then I went, it's called a C school, which is I went to lab school. And then that's how I started working in the lab. They don't have, you could go to college and then become an officer and work as either a CLS, or they have some like PhD scientists that work in the military. But if you go the enlisted route, then they will pay for your college. And so that's basically what I did. I did the training through the military. Then I got out of the military, I went back to school, and then I got my graduate degree, and then I got my California license.
Thank you. And one more quick question. Yeah. If you were to get your master's, bachelor's, and PhD, and then could you go through OCS?
Yes. And sometimes they'll pay for you to go to college. Okay. Sometimes they will, if you go to them, I mean, the military was a good step for me. I don't recommend it for everybody, but you can, if you go to them and go to a recruiter, you can actually get your college paid for, and you'll be an officer. And then do it that way. Don't become an enlisted person. I'm just saying. I mean, I'm just saying because work smarter, not harder. Yeah. So yes, you can do it like that.
Okay. Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Thank you so much. Anyone else have another question? And if you don't want to ask directly at the mic, I can ask them for you. And speakers, could you get closer to your mic so we can hear you better?
My question is also for Miss Eaton.
You can call me Justina. Just go by Justina.
How many years of schooling after high school is typical for those in your field?
Well, I work with some people that have PhDs that are CLSs. So really all you need is you need a bachelor's degree, and then you apply for the CLS internship program, which is another year. And then that's clinical and educational. So it's like kind of like a hybrid program. So it's almost like having a graduate degree, but you don't really have a graduate degree. But most of the people that work in HLA have, I work with like 3 people that have PhDs, and then a few of us have our masters. So that's kind of what you're looking at.
And where did you go to college?
I was hoping you were going to ask me that. I'm just kidding. So I was a non-traditional student because I went in the military first. So the way I did it is like not even the way like I explain it on the board. So I have my associates from George Washington University, which is a military program that they're affiliated with. And that's how I started working in the lab. And then I got my bachelor's from University of Phoenix in criminal justice because I wanted to go into forensics. And then I got my master's in criminalistics at National University with a specialization. It's a specialization in criminalistics. And then I have pretty much almost like a biology degree too. I have like all these, anyway, because I've just had really untraditional like trajectory. So I was a very non-traditional student because I was having family and I was doing all these things and working. So I mean, like I said, I was a non-traditional student, so I didn't go like straight from high school to college to, but I'm still a CLS, and it's a good living. So I mean, I hope that kind of doesn't deter people. I mean, you can start at a community college and then just work your way up. It might take you longer, but I mean, you'll still get to the same, end point.
Okay, hold on, let me go around. Here you go. Hey, Chelsea,
Could you tell us about your experience with physics in college and how you've applied physics to your career?
Sure. Okay. Good and bad. Let's go with the good first. So I found physics back in high school. I originally wanted to actually go into law. I thought for some reason in politics you can find the solution for everything through common discourse. I know. In the day and age we're in now, it's kind of silly. So at that time I found physics in high school. The egg drop experiment is what we did that made me fall in love with it. We had to save a raw egg from a 3-story drop just using paper and tape, and we had to make a little experiment for it. So I decided to go as a direct to my degree program in physics at UCSD. I'm a first-generation college student. I had no idea what I was getting into. At that time, the TV show The Big Bang Theory came out. I know it's old now. Some of you guys might be familiar with it. That is actually the community of physicists that actually exists. Like, that show is 100% accurate of my classmates. I was a little bit different in comparison, as you can imagine. I took the non-traditional path in regards to, I guess, the social system within the classroom, joined a sorority in college to kind of balance my life out. So I was a little bit ostracized, actually, by my classmates for doing so. I was one of, I think, 5 women, my graduating class of 40 at UCSD in physics, and I was definitely the one that was kind of picked on. They always wanted to make sure they were smarter than me, had better grades than me. It was pretty tough. It was competitive. It wasn't, if I didn't have the mentors that I found, different professors within the department, it really encouraged me to keep going. I don't think I would have graduated. There were definitely points I was thinking about changing my degree, and it was really hard knowing that that was the path that, I really loved what I studied, and this is now the burden I had to carry. It's definitely shaped my viewpoint of wanting to do a lot more outreach and volunteer more within the community, inspire more women to do so. What's actually been great is I've been able to reconnect to classmates who were actually nice. They did have a few. And they actually told me that it wasn't that because I was a woman they were discouraged or tried to pick on me in class. They were amazed someone with a social life could actually do well in those classes. So it was a matter of jealousy that actually came about. And I only found that out, 10 years after. So it was a matter of if I was the student who actually, went out to parties in college, they were always amazed that I could actually pass those exams and continue on with the program. So it was a different light that I learned, only after graduation. In the field, I think it did get better just because my classroom was bigger, right? It wasn't just the 40 of us for the 4 years. I got to learn about more engineers, find more people, more mentors, more advocates, which was really important, and just, continue giving back to the community because these types of things didn't exist when I was in school, and I think these are great. Thanks.
That's an easy answer. I've loved physics. I took physics last year, and I really liked it, and I'm taking it again. I hope to be as involved as you are in the community as well in the future. We have another question.
This question is for Dr. Mimi. How has working in Tetra and working in middle school girls change your view on women in STEM field?
Change my view of what?
Women in STEM field.
Oh, okay. So I've been looking at this issue for probably 50 years, actually, since before I even went to college, looking at the issue of women in STEM. And I would say that the Tech Trek program is a key program because we get girls involved between 7th and 8th grade. And the whole point of it is to just engage them in being willing to explore different things. And I would say that the thing that has become most evident to me, because we put 600 to 900 girls through in the state of California each year, 600 to 900 7th to 8th grade girls we put through this camp. And yet we only know of maybe 10, 15% of them that are moving on to other things because over the last few years we stopped engaging them in high school. And so we are now going to follow the model of SWENext and get the girls more engaged when they go out of Tech Trek camp and make sure that they stay connected to that STEM community. So the takeaway that I've learned being involved with Tech Trek is how important community is to making sure that girls will stay engaged throughout their high school years and into college. Yeah. And that's the biggest gain that I've seen. Thanks.
I have a question for Miss Eaton, I think. Was it hard for you to get into your job?
Do you mean like become a CLS, or do you mean like is it hard in my job like currently?
Is it hard to become a CLS?
In California, it is very competitive to get into, because I did the non-traditional route because I was in the military, so there's a provision in the state that if you were a lab tech in the military, that they will use that as your 1-year internship. So I didn't do the California internship because basically my working in the military counted for that. But I know that right now, I mean, and we're very short in our field, but there's just not enough spots. So the only people that have open spots for this internship are UCSD, Sharp, and Scripps, and they only open like 13 spots a year. And people from all over the United States will apply for these spots here in California because California pays the most. And there's people that have PhDs that, are scientists. We had one guy that just graduated from the program, and he was, he had his doctorate, but the pay isn't good. So then, now people are starting to see, become a CLS, you make more. But that doesn't mean you can't do it. I mean, you can totally do it. You can either do the internship in another state and then come back to California. I mean, you can do anything you put your mind to. I mean, I don't want you to ever get discouraged. I don't want any woman or any lady to get discouraged because, there were so many times in my life when people were like, it's not going to work, it's not going to work. And you just have to fight through that. And if you want it bad enough, then you will get it. I mean, that's basically what it is. You will find a way. You will keep applying. I mean, I work with a guy that did it 3 times. He applied 3 times to the program and he finally got in, and now he works with me. So, I mean, you can do it. It's just a matter of how much do you want it.
Can I tie the last 2 comments together from both your answers? I think there's always a tipping point that we all face in our careers. We all think we're going to quit, right? There's usually a point where we're going to stop. But if you have that group that supports you, it could be your friends, your family, your professional network. I think, is it Dr. Mary? You said something about finding your tribe. If you have someone advocating for you and someone cheering you on and telling you can do it, it makes the biggest difference. Mm-hmm. Yep.
Okay, and I have a question for Dr. I don't know.
Zhivago.
Okay. Is there like a program that you use to create those little characters?
Yes, it's 2D, and there's also 3D. So I like to use the Adobe Creative Suite package, and you don't download it with a CD. You have to subscribe online to it, and it's about $20, $29.99 for I think student and educators, and then $40 a month for regular people like industry person. So also the 3D program that I use is called Blender, and that's on blender.com, and that's absolutely free. Okay, and you could use PC and Mac. And there's so many tutorials on YouTube. I like YouTube University, so it's phenomenal. And if you have any questions, if you want to do that, you could always contact me, and I teach online.
Okay. Thank you.
Hello. I've got a question for all the panelists. And we can we can start with Dr. Mary or Dr. Zhivago or whichever, but the question is, if you have the opportunity to go back and change one thing in your career path, what would it be and why?
I would have been a rock star.
Yeah.
That would have been the only thing, and then I would have become an engineer after I was a rock star. Okay. Because I have to tell you, engineering, I am an engineer. I describe myself as an engineer, but engineering is a way of thinking, and it's just solving problems. That's all it's about. There's a problem that needs to be solved, and it's a way of thinking that helps you get to the solution or some solutions and pick the optimal one.
Do you want to go down the line?
Just down the line.
Yeah, okay, for it.
So, sorry, I worked last night. I'm kind of slow. I'm slow.
I think it might have been like a psychologist or a PhD. I think just because people use me as the resident counselor at work, I've always been like that. I want to put a little jar there that says, please put a quarter. Because usually people that work in the lab are they have a deficit or social skills.
Engineers too, by the way.
So if you have social skills, it's like it's an anomaly. And so, so I think in another life, I probably would have been a psychologist.
Okay, for me, I think I would say that, I look back and I kind of wish that I would have maybe been stronger, but at age 17, very immature, right? That I would have just plowed ahead and forced my way into it. But realistically, I kind of look back and see that I kind of wouldn't change anything because, and I think a few have talked about that. So I really am very much an introvert, but most people that know me and know me at work have no idea, right? So I think what happened is having the experience of kind of being told I couldn't go into a field and kind of backing off, and then coming into my age, right? I mean, a few years later, being able to say, do you know what? Let me just try this, and let's see if they'll let me. And let's see what happens, and that perseverance and just continuing on, it molded me into the person that I am. And so in my, everybody at work, I'm the problem solver because, it's like I never took no again after that, right? So for personal, for, any of my career moves, or for if we got a problem that we were trying to solve, because I worked in Department of Defense, it usually meant we were trying to solve a problem to save lives, right? To save our military lives. And so I just kind of came up with this, well, there will be a way. We will solve the problem. We will find a way. So I would say for me, looking back, I would I think it all worked out, that it was all meant to be, in that it led me to be the person and the strong person that I am. And, but I would just say, to all of you, like I did before, it's like if you have passions, if you have dreams, you have to make a choice. Everything's a choice, and make that choice. And whatever it is, whether it's STEAM related or not, right? Just find something, and if you believe in it, then take that passion and move on.
I think my answer is twofold. If I could do one thing differently, I would learn to shut out sooner the people who tell me I can't do things. Sometimes we have to change course or be creative in how we get things done. I don't regret getting my undergraduate in something that was not STEM related. But that decision was based on all these people around me at the time who told me STEM isn't for you. You can't be successful in these fields just because of who you are. And that's something I learned later on, is that that's just not true. The only people who get to decide what we are capable of or not capable of is really ourselves. The other thing is I wish I had realized sooner how eager people around us are to help. Of all the emails I get every day, my favorite emails to read and respond to are hearing from people who I've mentored or worked with or taught or helped in some way, whether it was last week or 10 years ago. I love hearing from people who I had an opportunity to, play a role in their career or their academic journey. And when I was younger and I was going through school and earlier in my career, I was very shy about reaching out and asking for a favor or asking for help or asking someone in a STEM career, well, how did you get to your role? I thought I was bothering someone, and now that I'm in a role where I get to mentor other people, I realize I absolutely wasn't bothering people. A lot of people in these types of roles just jump at the opportunity to help see the next generation of STEM and engineers and medical professionals and scientists grow. So I would encourage other people to take from that what I wish I'd known at the time is feel free to reach out. People want to help and they want to see others be successful, especially in these fields. And I think especially women mentoring other young women and girls, it's a big thing nowadays. I think there's more resources than ever, and going back to social capital, there's a lot of people who want to take what they know and teach it to somebody else. So don't be shy, reach out, ask questions. Don't be afraid to say, I don't know, and you know, express curiosity. You're never bothering someone if you want to genuinely learn.
Yeah, love that.
So I used to say in my career, I was really proud that I took a lot of risks, kind of following against what people told me I should and shouldn't do, what I would and wouldn't enjoy, and all that kind of stuff. I think I've recently changed it to saying I wish I had taken calculated risks instead of just flat out risks. Sometimes you just want to jump into things just because someone said you can't do it, and there's just this rebellious attitude about it. You kind of go into it without a plan. Maybe have a plan. Maybe a plan. I say it's good to have a plan so you know when you're deviating, right? You don't have to follow the plan. Just know when you're going to deviate. So you kind of have a little bit of more knowledge about your next step. So don't, you know, just calculated risks, but to really figure out the end goal for yourself and making those decisions and not listening to anyone else's advice for yourself.
For me, I probably might have turned around and gone into becoming a board member of a district or community leader like the mayor. Because, you know, working in education as a teacher, you see the reality, what we have in the schools, you know. We have less money than you think, or, you know, businesses can donate more and help our community with getting the correct tools and replace obsolete technology and help the future of our community, because you guys are the future. Without these technologies and tool softwares, where are we going to go if we don't invest in you? So that's what probably I would do if I were to go back and turn around and be more confident in that. Thank you.
Thank you so much for answering that question. I think it's a really important thing we should all learn, and yeah. Yeah, so this question is also sort of for all the panelists, or everyone in general. So what helped you decide on your area of expertise? Was it maybe a class, or a mentor, or an internship maybe? And then especially for those who got a degree in something that maybe didn't directly align with their career, what changed your mind?
I'll go first. So I mentioned earlier in the little spiel, first step was the egg drop experiment in high school, right? So from there, I don't know, nothing questioned it. I'm like, all right, yeah, let's just keep going down this path until I found something about it I didn't like. So kept asking more questions and kept getting more involved into it. So I went into a direct physics degree in college. And there you can specialize, right? That's always going to be a thing. At first, I didn't want to do quantum physics and astrophysics, mainly because there's like this existential dread of our insignificant part in the universe. Turns out I loved it. Fun fact. Probably because they're actually the best teachers. And I was talking about this earlier. I think your teachers have the biggest impact on if you're going to love something or not. And I'm sure all of you guys as students understand that. You'll have a class that maybe you don't think you're going to enjoy. You have this inspirational teacher who just completely changes your mind. And I think it's those types of moments that really kind of direct you towards that path. Because I actually switched after I graduated with physics in my undergrad, I went to mechanical engineering for my master's. Because now I wanted to study things I could see. That was the whole thing. And in the lab I wanted to do research under, I had learned from my experience in undergrad, I didn't care what I specialized in. I wanted to find the most compassionate advisor I could find. Because lab research can be grueling, absolutely grueling, I understand. Long hours in a lab, no sunlight, those are sometimes things. So to have someone who cared about your well-being and your life and to check in on you, to provide answers and guidance, I thought was the most important thing. And that's ended up how I specialized in my field. It was just through the right people, basically. Anyone?
So when I was growing up, I hated playing with dolls because I had 6 brothers and sisters who were all younger than me, and my mom had 8 kids in 10 years, and I was the second oldest. So guess how many diapers I changed? Guess how many bottles I fed and how many babies I birthed? I had no interest in playing with dolls. And so, but what I was interested in was doll furniture. And so I like doll houses, I like to build doll houses, and then it kind of went away. And then when I got into, one of my first jobs out of high school was, I was a machinist. So I worked for GE, learned how to run big machines that build rotors and do lathes and mills and all kinds of stuff. And in 1979, 3 Mile Island, and you probably, none of you, anybody that's under probably 30 recalls 3 Mile Island, but it was an accident, a nuclear accident at the 3 Mile Island nuclear power plant in Pennsylvania. And that happened in 79, and I was working as a machinist at that time, and I thought to myself, you know, people are crazy. I'm gonna move out to the country, and I'm gonna figure out how to run my own power plant and do everything because people are so crazy. And so I decided to go back to school to become a mechanical engineer, so I knew how to build a water pump. That was the thing that I was the most interested in, was being able to apply engineering to, in some way, save myself and my family and whatever moving into the future. Is that not weird or what? It helped, and it kept me motivated for the next couple of years.
I think I always had like this passion for like the microscope. I think I was like totally in love with the microscope when I was like 8 years old. And so that started, you know, looking under the scope and seeing this whole world underneath it really drove me into the lab. I mean, I've always been interested in biology, but it kind of just ended up there. And then the reason why I did forensics, it's related. It is the lab. It's just for forensics. It's for, you know, like in crime investigations. And so, you know, it's all kind of the same thing. I thought I wanted to go into forensics, and it's a lot different. Like the community there is different than clinical, and clinical is stricter as far as like, and I'm very OCD and anal retentive, and so I don't think I could, I don't think I could make that jump going there, because they're not under the same licensure. They're not even licensed like we are. So I just couldn't go to it. So I had all this advanced degree in that, but I use it. It's applicable in my job. I mean, it's still the same kind of thinking, you know, it's like, okay, you know, what's this result? Why is it doing this? There's all these different variables that you have to figure out. So I think I was always meant to go in the lab, even though I tried to kind of like scoot away from it. My husband was like, you need to stay in the lab. Like, I don't know why you keep trying to leave. It's like, I'm kind of gelled there, but yeah, so.
In the 80s, there was a program called the Voluntary Ethnic Enrollment Program. And I went to Morris High School all the way until junior, and I decided in the 12th grade to go to University City High School in La Jolla. 2 different kinds of education here. They were teaching HTML coding for electronic greeting cards. I had no idea what I was doing, but I took the class, and the class was full of boys. And I just felt really like I wasn't, you know, part of the class. But I pulled through, and knowing what I did back then, and knowing now that, you know, I'm helping with artificial intelligence and augmented reality now, I would probably tell my 16-year-old, 17-year-old self to put yourself together and go in there with the boys, you know? So I learned how to do it on my own, self-taught, and I just want to, you know, influence the girls here in the auditorium that never let, you know, gender be an issue. You got this. And if you have questions, ask questions.
You can go ahead, sure. So I got my bachelor's in something non-STEM related. I was finishing up my undergraduate degree. I had a full-time job, you know, working in customer service. I was doing an internship related to what I was studying. And then I was cleaning houses as a maid on the weekends and in the mornings. So I was a busy person. And I liked cleaning, but I got yelled at a lot, so that was very hard. And there was a woman whose house I cleaned who was always very nice to me, and I noticed that she lived in a beautiful home, and she never came home from work or left for work in tears. She seemed to really like whatever it was she did. And I asked her one day, if I could ask what she did for a living. And she said, well, I'm a cybersecurity engineer. And I said, well, that's really great. What is that? And she kind of laughed, and we sat down at her kitchen table, and she talked to me about cybersecurity and just the field and what it is and how fast it's growing. And I was so curious. I went home that night and I Googled it, and I just was so fascinated, and I kept finding more questions than I had answers to. And I'm someone who always likes to ask questions and learn, so I kept investigating. I found a program where I eventually got my master's in cybersecurity. But again, just having someone who was willing to mentor and answer questions and help me pique my curiosity was how I got into cybersecurity ultimately.
Yeah, so I mentioned earlier in my talk that you know, I had a chemistry teacher at my high school, and he could pick one student, and it just so happened was me. So if you want to talk destiny, you know, whatever, right? Because, you know, realistically, if I had not gone to that, I don't know where I would be. Maybe not even here, right? I might have gone into some other fields. I'm like Mary. I like a lot of things, and so yeah, you just can't keep me kind of focused for too long. But you know, I had that opportunity for that one event. I did not have support from my parents. They just felt like I should. I mean, I had turned down a full ride music scholarship, and they were quite upset at that. But then I got an academic somewhere else, and anyway. They were just thinking that, oh, well, that's all you do your music. But like Mary, I really like having that as my outlet and not my job. So I would really strongly encourage, you know, we have a lot of parents here today, and thank you for bringing your children here, right? But help them find opportunities. When, you know, when I was growing up, there were not these opportunities. For girls, boys, whatever, right? This just wasn't available. There weren't really like internships and other things like that. So there are now. And so there's so many opportunities. So expose your children, and you know, it's got to be on you too, students, right? That you need to also take control and find things. And if you have an interest, you know, get yourself out there. So that's what I would just recommend, is find so many opportunities, because, you know, like all of us here, we're so excited to be here, right? We're so excited to share what we can with you, and hopefully maybe it's a spark, right? So anyway, just keep finding those things that can provide more information, and find the mentors and those that are, you know, that are very willing to talk and share with you.
So if you guys couldn't tell, we're all super excited to be here. I think that's the message we all come across. Right? I think we're all excited for the networking after. So if you're afraid to ask questions, like in a larger audience or anything, also come up to us during that time.
And we're probably running out of time. I know we're a little bit behind.
We got one more down here.
I have two questions for Justina, and then one question for all the panelists. I'll start off with the two questions for Justina. Are there any current available internships at UCSD for high school students within the laboratory sciences field?
Not where I work, but you have my contact information, because I won't be at the networking thing because I'm about ready to fall asleep. So I apologize. But there is, after you graduate, like I don't know how close you are to graduating, you can become a volunteer at UCSD at the COM, which is where I work, and you can file in our department, but that's kind of getting your foot in the door. It's really important when you go for the CLS program to get your foot in the door, because then when your application goes through, a lot of the senior CLSs are the ones that pick the people. So sometimes it gets kind of political, which I don't agree with, but that's just how it is in academia. It's political, and so what I suggest is, I mean, like I said, you have my contact information, so if you're interested in seeing what goes on there, I can talk to my supervisor and probably finagle something. I'm pretty I usually get what but I try. I mean, I'm pretty strong-willed, and he's a really good supervisor. So, and he's really good. So, but yeah, we do have after once you graduate high school, then you can get in there and kind of see like what we do. And the comm is like a bunch of different departments. There's microbiology, there's chemistry, hematology, there's just like the whole gamut. Flow, cytometry, I didn't talk about that. But yeah, so you can kind of get a, feel of what it's like there.
The second question is, can you please go more into depth of your career as a medical corpsman? How was the experience, schedule, and work conditions?
Well, this was it was a long time ago. I mean, this was like in the 90s. I mean, it was a long time ago for me. So I'm like,
Not for me.
Yeah, I know. Well, for me, it was a long time ago. It's changed a lot. The military has changed a lot. So when I was in the military, I went to boot camp, and then I became a naval medical corpsman. So back when I was a corpsman, I mean, we did everything. So basically, it was like being a nurse. So I knew I didn't want to do that. Like, I was like, okay, I don't want this job because, I mean, I like people, but it's more, they have a saying. We have a saying, actually, CLSs have a saying. We say that the nurses are the heart of the hospital and the CLSs are the brain, because and not like in a mean thing, but no, but I mean because they're emotionally there's like that social and so I did get to do that. I mean, I got to put in central lines, I got to like take care of patients, I did codes. I mean, I did a lot. I got to see bypass surgery when I was in the military. It was a good experience because I learned a lot about life and death, and I was very young. I mean, I was like 19 years old, and it was a good experience to just kind of experience all that. I mean, and to see like, oh my gosh, this is what life's really about. But I was like, this isn't for me. And it made me sad because people would die, and I was like, I can't deal with this. So so then I went into the lab. And so the last 5 years in the military, I worked in the lab. I work at Camp Pendleton, and that's when I was a supervisor in hematology and blood bank. And then, and then I got out. I worked back east, in Naval Hospital Camp Lejeune as a civilian in their donor center. And so that's my military career. So yeah, I mean, if you're interested in joining the military, I kind of have mixed feelings about that, but it was a good experience. I mean, for me, it was great. I mean, I got to see like what it's like to do those things. So you don't get that opportunity when you're a civilian. I mean, when you're in the military, they let you do everything. So I mean, I was doing everything. I mean, I got to see what it's like to be a nurse, and I was like, well, I want to do that. So.
It's good.
Yeah, it's good.
For the panelists, what is the greatest advice you can give to aspiring young women who want to pursue a career in STEM? I know you all kind of sporadically answered that question, but what is something that we can carry on for the rest of our journeys to reach our goals?
Do it. I don't know. Like, I mean, there's nothing stopping you, right? No. Like, there's so many world challenges out there that are not only pressing but pertinent and inspiring, and we need solutions. Like we need all of you guys to be there with us to figure these things out. We need more representation in the field because these solutions are not one size fits all for these communities. So we need more voices out there, and we just need more solutions too.
Yeah. I would say, I go back to my big thing. I think I actually made it in bigger font: under promise and over deliver. That is probably, when anything that you do, it'll wipe out the fact that you're female or anything else. If you consistently demonstrate excellence, people will ignore the fact that you're a female if you consistently can deliver on whatever it is that you made a commitment to deliver on.
Yeah, I'd say don't give up, right? And that's that perseverance that started this whole conference, right? The shirt, she persevered, right? Because the bottom line is you're gonna run into challenges, right? They may not be any of the challenges that we had, but there might be financial challenges, there might be health challenges, family challenges, right? You're gonna run into challenges. Welcome to life, right? Mm-hmm. This is just the way life is. But don't give up on your dreams, and don't stop dreaming. I mean, in your minds are the solutions to the challenging problems that we have of today and that will be there tomorrow. right? So you have it in you. You really do. So just don't give up.
Empower other female in business. For example, I'm really great at social media content, and so I assisted a businesswoman with Otai Market Nights, and she said, I want to go out there and I want to give other businesses a chance. So I had to go ahead and talk to the manager of Otai Town Center and say, hey, we need to do this. If we get, you know, the musicians and the arts in here, then that will bring foot traffic to the mall. It's a win-win situation for the mall. It's a win-win situation for females in small business with the, you know, selling, with the tents and entrepreneurship. If you got a talent, then share with the others and empower those other females in the community.
Yeah.
I do want to share one other thing too, because one of the things that I learned at Tech Trek, and I probably also learned it at the Society of Women Engineers, is we have a lot of females who are perfectionists. And if you don't get an A, you think you're failing. So I'm here to tell you, B for balance. Keep your life balanced. The A's are gonna maybe get you into school, it may get you into your first job, having a good GPA, but after that, nobody cares.
Yeah.
Nobody cares what your GPA was.
That's actually really good advice. I know, like, I've heard C's get degrees, so pushing up. Yeah.
I told you that today.
Yes. We're actually gonna go to our last question because our panel went a bit long,
So I just want to say that I'm really honored to be here today, and that the Titanbot, SWENext from Eastlake High, and then also I think the Eastlake Educational Foundation, amazing organization for hosting this event today. But my question is to the panelists today, and you've already answered a bunch, same thing, you know, advice and all that, which is great. But I want to know, when the student gets home tonight and they think about their day, what is that one word that you want them, that take-home message, just one? What should they be thinking? And I know I'm gonna say connections already, so you have to pick something else.
Persist.
Good one.
Sorry, mine's like 3 words, or a few words. Be a good human. I always tell my kids that, just be a good human.
I usually use the word aspiring, because you're not quite there yet, but you're gonna be.
Mine's also more than one word, but I would just say keep going.
Value yourself.
Yeah, now it's to me. Okay.
You're the last
like
one.
too many things to say. No, do you know, I think it would be, take a look in the mirror and smile at yourself. Be proud of yourself. Like, be proud that you came today. Maybe you didn't want to and your parent brought you, right? I don't know, right? Or maybe you really wanted to and you had to talk your parent into it. Yeah, you, right? But look in that mirror and really value yourself, right? For all that you are, and envision yourself. I think maybe envision is my one word, right? Yeah. Envision yourself of who you can be, because we're counting on you.
Great, thanks.
Thank you so much to the amazing panel joining us today. We were really grateful to have these amazing professionals come and talk about their experience. So another round of applause, please.
Since our panel went a little long, which was great, I really liked all the questions, and I know many of you had many more. So do not worry. We actually have our networking lunch where you can ask more personalized questions to our panelists and our speakers.
So the next part of our conference is our robot demos. So joining us today for our robot demonstrations are 3 other robotics teams from the San Diego area, helping us introduce FIRST, for inspiration and recognition of science and technology, a nonprofit or recognized as the world's leading youth service organization in advancing STEM education. First offers hands-on learning opportunities backed up with global community in which students discover a passion for STEAM, and develop skills to become the leaders of tomorrow. First, we have Team 2485 Warlords, a first robotics competition team from Francis Parker School. And then we have the Mechanicans, another varsity team from Ocean View Christian Academy in Imperial Beach. Fun fact about them, this is their first robot, the robot they're going to be demoing is the first robot they built, and they made it to the Houston Championships this year. Lastly, we have Team 10092, Green Griffins, a first tech challenge community team hosted by Francis Parker School as well. So our demos are actually going to be happening outside in our amphitheater. The robots are already set up, so you can go there and watch the robots. They're going to do 15 minutes of demoing, so you can see what each of them does. So if you could all exit the theater and go to the amphitheater. We will be giving further instruction in the demos about our networking lunch, so please be aware of that. And for those viewing the event through YouTube, I'd like to thank you for joining for our 2022 Online Girls Inspiring Real Leadership in STEAM Conference. Titanbot and SWENext truly hope that you will continue participating and supporting our future endeavors while inspiring students to engage in STEAM education. We have emailed you the post, for the viewers online, we have emailed you the post-conference form to account for you have registered with. We really appreciate if you could fill it out. Any feedback we receive will improve the future events for years to come. Furthermore, our speaker and panel portion event will be available for viewing at our YouTube channel, Titanbot. Again, thank you very much for joining us this morning and letting us guide you through the importance of making connections for life.